everybody, and welcome back to Tenza Motorsports. Today we have another project. I know another project. We'll show that off in just a moment. Before we do, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Like if you enjoy this type of content. Also make sure to check us out on Instagram, Tenza_Motorsports. Before we continue the video, we also want to thank and talk about our channel sponsor, RevMatch Motorsport. RevMatch is a fantastic company. They tune all of our BMWs here on our channel. They do a whole bunch of engines, and before you look into doing any tuning on your BMW, you need to run your car past them first to make sure that they do or do not work on that particular car. RevMatch's quick response time and top tier tuning makes it a no-brainer if you need to get your BMW tuned. They can do anything from launch control, forced induction, both supercharging and turbocharging. They do it all. So whether you're dyno tuning, street tuning, or just trying to get rid of some annoying emission lights that keep coming up on your dash, RevMatch is the way to go. Big thanks for them being a sponsor on the channel, and back to the video. All right, and here is the car. Boom, big reveal. A 2013 E70 X5 with the 3-liter N55 compound turbo straight 6. This car is the M Sport package and has a lot of goodies. I haven't even hardly touched this vehicle, but we're gonna go over what we're doing with it, why, how much, and what to expect to see in future videos. All right, so here's the car. This is difficult to get into frame. The car is so big that I can't seem to get my camera back away far enough to get the entire thing in one shot. It's almost the opposite of the race cars. I stand next to the race car and it's like this tall, and so if I'm standing next to it, I have to kind of like, you know, get into frame for the race car, and this is kind of like the other way around. Anyways, here it is, and it does have some flaws. We'll go over those in just a moment, but I just kind of want to go over what we're doing with it and how much we paid for it and why and everything like that. So again, the 2013 X5, as many of the long-term watchers of my channel have seen me kind of go through some life processes here, getting married and buying a house and things like that. Well, the next step is obviously to have a family. We do not have any children, but at some point we'd like to, and so this would be a better vehicle for us. This isn't like an announcement or anything. I'm trying to do anything like that. I'm just trying to get us set up for the next stage, if that is something that is in the cards for us. And this vehicle here, whether we have children or not, is something that my wife is very interested in having. She likes the sport utility. This is a little bit bigger of a sport utility, obviously being the X5 versus like an X1 or an X3. And so whether something like that happens or not, this vehicle is something she's very interested in driving. And this specific one with the M Sport package is fantastic looking. We had been looking for an X5 or an X3 or just some sort of sport utility for a while. And these cars here are like 8 to 15 grand, this body style and the engine and everything like that. And I wanted to make sure I was getting the straight 6. Couldn't seem to figure out how it would make sense because we own the other vehicle. Well, this one popped up on Facebook Marketplace for $1,000. It's a mechanic special, has some hopefully not very serious issues, but it has some issues where it's not running. And we went over there and looked at it. I offered the lady $850. She said, yes, I'll do it. And so here it is, $850, which if you look at it from the, let's just go worst case scenario, is if we have to get back out of it or part it out, I think I can easily get back out of this for $800. Just for example, like the tires are like brand new on it. We're not in any, you know, financial issues with it yet. As long as the repair to get this thing up and running back on the road and in healthy working condition doesn't cost us more than about, I want to say if we start getting close to like the $7,500 range, so like the $7,500 plus $850, starting to get kind of like, oh, you know, we could have probably bought one. Probably would have been in worse condition than this one physically. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're looking. So this car here, we had to load up into the trailer. It does not run, does not drive. And again, I'm hoping that it's something that's not super serious. Let's go over all the good things and then we'll go over what is actually wrong with the vehicle. So like I said, the M Sport model here, these wheels and tires are massive. I think these are let me see here, 275 fronts. So the fronts are as wide as the rear tires on our race cars. So it's got 275s up front and we've got 315s in the rear. The 315s in the rear. That's like drag racing stuff. I think most Mustangs, Camaros, and stuff like that, like a 305 is like the kind of like the starting number for like, oh, I'm gonna get some, you know, wider tires for the back of my car. So 315, that there's steamrollers in the back of this car. Again, the beautiful wheels. This one's kind of scuffed up here in the front because I actually I hit the little wheel well thing in the trailer. This was every bit of what the trailer could handle. It's very big, it's very heavy. I was happy we were able to get this into the trailer. I was able to use that Badlands winch that we have in the trailer, pulled it right up into it. And thank goodness the lady only lived like just a couple miles from us. They were from out east. They got a bunch of toll road passes and things like that on the windshield here. And they moved here, and it looks like the car's overheated a few times. And it looks like this isn't the first time that it's had to be moved without being able to start. So there's a key that goes into the center console that allows you to actually roll the car into neutral. The key's gone, so I actually had to get underneath the vehicle and run that little bolt up to put it into neutral. So let's go take a tour of it real quick, show off some of the cool things about the car, and then we'll talk about the issues it's having. And everybody, cross fingers, pray, whatever you need to do to help me out. Good vibes, nice thoughts, and just I'm really hoping that it's something simple. We'll go over that in a moment. So we'll start up here in the very front, and as you can see here, it does have a slightly sportier front bumper. You get a little bit of that M shape right there. It's got fog lights, it's got the nicer headlights. We're missing a grille, but that's not a huge deal. There's a little bit of damage over here on this side, so a little bit of damage there on the bumper and onto the fender flares, which are paint matched fender flares, which is another part of the M Sport package over here. Same thing, got those painted fender flares. And then I believe they damaged the bumper. Yep, there's another damaged spot right there. So the bumper's gonna have to come off at some point. I'll get that fixed up. Working on an auto body shop makes that a lot easier to do that kind of stuff. Fender is nice and straight. Hood doesn't have any dents on it. Looking down the side of the car here, and same thing, real nice and straight. And then I believe the other side's got one small dent on it. I don't know if you can even see it on camera. And there's one small dent down that side of the car, but overall the outside of the car looks like it's in really good condition. It does not have those running boards. I know the first generation had kind of like a running board, like a step side. I like this a lot better. It makes the car look a little bit more sleek. The running boards, in my opinion, were just a little bit much on the X5s. Looks like I just saw that. Looks like there's a fairly decent scuff in that mirror. But yeah, headlights and taillights work and look really good condition. Let's go over here into the back of the car. You can see I've got a charger up here. We are charging the battery. So if you hear some humming sounds, that's the battery tender here. The battery looked like it was in fairly decent condition. It's not super old. I can't remember the date off the top of my head. But let's just start here in the back. It looks great. I don't think they carried anything back here, and if they did, it only was ever on that mat. Underneath here, you've got your tire repair kit, and it was missing, like I said, that tool that puts the car into neutral, which kind of sucked. But we were able to get it out of the old owner's garage and into the trailer. I did have to put the car on dollies. We actually rolled it out of the garage and then rolled it over to the trailer, took it off the dollies, and then pulled it into the trailer. It was quite the ordeal. I wish I would have recorded a little bit more of that, but it just was I was trying to get it done. It was starting to get late, and so I wasn't able to document that very well. We do have the split hatch here in the back, which is kind of cool. So once you open this, it's kind of like a halfway thing, and then you open this one here. Let's see if I can't make a mess. And as you can see, there it is. Honestly, the interior of the car is actually in really good condition. So you can see here, there's not a lot of like broken plastics or giant scuffs. A little bit of black over there. Probably be able to clean some of that plastic up. Yeah, so let's go look into the interior of the car, the rest of the interior of the car. So here is the back passenger door, same thing. These handles right here start to kind of like fall apart when there's a lot of like oil and grease from your hands. And it actually feels like it's in really good condition still, which is pretty interesting, which means I don't think there was a lot of people sitting in the back. It does have seat covers, as you can see here. And I think they've been on there for quite a while because the seats look in really good condition. We do have the rear climate control, and it does have a little readout down there, which is cool. I don't think the back seats are heated. I don't think they are, but they are perforated, which is nice, so you don't get too hot. The tan interior isn't our favorite, but for our circumstances, we are not going to complain. Back seats look really good. Headliner is not drooping or falling down. You have that really nice big sunroof, and that all functions really well. It's nice and quiet. It's not making any like chattering or breaking sounds. We do have the window shades here, which is cool. And you can hear the alarm chime there because the car is in neutral and it's not very happy right now. The front door, here you go. That's kind of what I was saying earlier. This one is starting to fall apart. And just like the E90, the driver door doesn't actually have one, which I've always thought was kind of interesting. So again, same thing. Front seats look really good. It's got the sport seat. So all of this, you know, is adjustable. I think that's electric. Is that electric? Oh, hold on just a second. Let me see. Oh, there we go. Yep. So this is electric. It's pretty freaking cool. There's the M Sport badge there in the sill. Then let's see here. I know this opens up somehow. Press this button. That is actually your glove box. You do not have a standard one down below here. We do have heated and cooled seats, which is cool. Cooled seats are a little bit more rare in BMWs. I don't think I've ever owned or ever had any family members who have ever had one with cooled seats. A lot of heated seats, especially in our area here, but no cooled ones. The center console is all in really good condition. These get cracked a lot. This is real leather. This isn't the pleather, obviously, where this is a higher package. It's all in really good condition. This isn't starting to fall apart. Oftentimes this brushed aluminum wrapped plastic starts to come apart and bubble. That's actually looking in really good condition. A little bit of cracks here in the wood trim. Not sure what to do about that except for to just cover it, wrap it, maybe replace it. So hopefully some of these pieces aren't very expensive. Center console does have the old iDrive, which I'm not super stoked about, but again, what are you gonna do when you pay this kind of money for a car? Again, headliner up front here, really good condition. It's not drooping, not falling apart. All of the plastics are here, nothing's broken. Just overall in really good condition. Let's go over to the driver's side real quick, show you the steering wheel. So there is the M Sport steering wheel, and it is actually a bigger around than the standard steering wheel. So most M cars, this is thicker, your little thumb grips here, and then the M logo there. This has the whole thing. So not that much different than like an actual M car. I don't know if it's how much different it is than the X5M, if anything, but I know that normally M Sport means, you know, M inspired, but it's not like, they're not like directly the same parts. Does have the leather wrapped dash. You can see the stitching right here. Well, hopefully you can. Sorry, it's kind of hard to record. It's a little dark in here. M Sport dead pedal, door sill again. Just a really nice place to be. Does have heads up display. I don't know if you can see just up there, there's the unit for it. Carpet doesn't have a lot of stains. Again, here's the driver's seat. There's a few little wear marks here and there. And then let's pop the hood and I will show you the engine and some of the things that we're fighting up there. Also, I don't know what that is. And popping the hood, I've always liked BMW's latches. Very intuitive. So here is the fantastic 3-liter compound turbo straight 6 3-liter N55 engine, and it does not, well, it's stuck. The engine's stuck. It's not seized, but it's stuck. So as you can see here, this cross member has been taken off. The electric fan is out of there. And the reason for all that is I was trying to figure out what was going on with this car. You know, is the engine locked up? Because when we went to go try to crank it, it just wouldn't crank. I went to go turn the engine and it won't move. And I'm like, oh great, that's not good. So I called up my cousin, the one you've seen on the channel before, asked him, okay, what do we do from here? What are some of the things what are some of our options? What should I be looking for? And he says, well, does it turn the other direction? Can you get it to spin the other direction? I got it to spin the other direction about a half a turn of the harmonic balancer, and then it stopped again, turned back the way it's supposed to go, and stopped again. That's not good. It can be a lot of different things. We're really hoping that it's something dumb, something to do with the transmission. Transmission's obviously a little bit cheaper in this car to replace than the engine. I'm hoping it's not in the cylinder walls or in the engine block, because if it is, then you're just having to pull the engine and replace it. A used engine for these cars is around $2,500 to $4,500, and a transmission is between $1,500 to $2,500. This vehicle only has 113,000 miles on it, which is pretty low, I feel, which is about right for the car. It's a little less than 10,000 miles a year. And you know, it's not like a low mileage, but it's not super high mileage. So I'm really hoping that as long as they didn't like completely abuse this engine all the time, these are plenty fine engines. People only really have issues with these when they're tracking them. You get the oil starvation and you're really pushing it to the limit all the time, or you get people that don't maintain them and then hot rod them before they're warmed up, things like that. So as long as the previous owners had just been decent to the car, let the car warm up, let it get past its cold start before you go start running up on the turbos, keep your oil changed, keep up on the fluid maintenance, things like that, then we should be in fairly good condition. So that's where we are with this car. Again, wish us luck. See if we can't get this thing back on the road. And then the plan is to sell the other vehicle that we just fixed up. Should be worth a couple grand more than I fixed it up for. And that should put us real nicely into this guy. I like the way it fits in the garage. It's really not that, I mean, it looks big on camera, but it's only about a foot longer than the other car. So I still have plenty of space between the car and my workbench here. And there's still lots of room for, as you can see here, the other vehicles, the engine stand, my car. So we like the car, like the color, and we're just happy, blessed that we got it for the price we did. So as long as we're able to get it fixed up for a reasonable amount of money, then this should be good for us. So stay tuned with us as we go along this journey. There is a lot to do, and I'm already behind. We did that E90 build. And I was supposed to be working on my garage this last summer. You can see that I'm missing sheetrock. Supposed to be working on that, but I spent so much time building the shed this last summer and doing that E90 that I'm not even done with what I was supposed to be doing before I added this to the mix. So yeah, that just means lots of content for you. I'll be super busy this winter. Thanks again, everybody, so much for watching, and we will see everybody in the next video.
Bam!